Charles Oliveira is a new generation fighter who is a terrible opponent for everyone in the lightweight division. He has gone a long way to improve his skills to become the champion, and today you will find out how good Charles Oliveira is. This is MMA time. And this is technique breakdown of Charles Oliveira. Charles is Ferguson type of a fighter. There are a lot of similar guys in UFC. They all fight like real hyenas, tear opponents apart, but only Oliveira gone that far. It happened because he never gives up. Yes, he lost a lot of his fights, but he can't be broken. As we said, Charles has a lot of similarities with Tony Ferguson, and we'll be comparing these two fighters during this video. It will help us to analyze Oliveira's future fight against Justin Gaethje. Let's start with Oliveira's character. Oliveira's debut in the UFC took place in 2010, and it was against Darren Elkins. He smashed him without any problem. At the time, Charles had no idea what's gonna happen to him. The 21-year-old guy was not yet ready for the main MMA organization of the world. He was immediately fed to Donald Cerrone, Cap Swanson and Frankie Edgar. They all defeated Charles. They did not break him, but it was the worst time of his life. He had completely changed. A great example of this is his trilogy with Nick Lentz. In the first fight, Charles fought confidently and relaxed. His skills were not good enough, but he looked wild and really dangerous. In the second fight, they clashed after a difficult period of Oliveira. His wildness was lost. He acted sluggishly, mostly tried to put the fight on the ground and make submission. The opponent looked much faster than him, but in the end Charles gathered himself and finished him anyway. Nevertheless, a slight fear of fighting was visible in almost all of his fights of that period. Victories alternated with defeats, but in the end a turning point in Oliveira's career took place, a fight against Paul Felder. He revealed once again the main problem of Charles' technique. He likes to work in the guard on the ground, but he does not know how to defend himself. He only counterattacks any opponent's movements with submissions. The problem is that sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. Felder finally elbowed Charles. One more example. Jeremy Stephens smashed him with hard punches, then he flew into the guard too. After that, Oliveira had to finally reconsider his style and return to the roots. Charles has become like his old self, but much better. Now he is a full-fledged MMA fighter. When his new career period started, he finished the veteran Clay Guida, destroyed Jim Miller, and got a three-time victory over Lentz. The next opponent was David Taymor. In this fight, Oliveira showed his nature. You will be surprised, but in 20 seconds David managed to put his fingers in Charles' eyes twice. How he managed to do it is another question, but even being blinded, Oliveira finished his opponent in the classic hyena style, exactly the same as every next opponent. All the victories were won by submission or knockout. Endurance. Charles has unbelievable endurance, but in order to be a pressing fighter, it's not enough not to run out of breath. You need to be able to press and exhaust your opponent. As soon as Oliveira took a lot of tricks from Ferguson and regained confidence in his striking skills, he immediately became an exemplary pressing machine. Charles and Tony are very similar. Let's take as an example Oliveira's fight against Kevin Lee, who was already defeated by Tony. Just like El Cucuy, he immediately started throwing a lot of front kicks so that Kevin started running to the sides. Charles hits a powerful right low kick, and Lee falls into the trap. Oliveira forces him to run to the sides, few more low kicks and opponent tries to avoid these hard kicks. As soon as the Kevin begins to move predictably, Charles immediately flies in with a knee. When kicks are already in the opponent's mind, Oliveira adds punches, often with his left hand, towards which the opponent is running. He checks the distance for his right hand. Thus, the Bronx creates ideal conditions for exhaustion. The enemy is in constant movement to the sides, which is much more exhausting than linear movement. Add to this the tricks and shots to the body, thanks to which Kevin was exhausted by the end of the second round. Boxing. In the classical sense of boxing technique, Charles is not doing very well. For example, he doesn't know how to beat long combinations with level changes. But these basic boxing skills are at a good level, especially a sense of distance and timing. As we know, Bronx's left hand measures the distance for the right hand. But when opponent underestimates left jab, it turns in a check hook. He keeps opponents in his tension all the time. Despite his physique, when he's gone up in the lightweight, strength appeared in his right hand. His right straight and uppercut knocked out opponents more than once. There are two knockout scenarios for Charles. The first one, there he throws a hail of punches so that the opponent dives in a hurry from a straight or a jab. There he is met by an uppercut of Oliveira. The second option already requires kicks from the opponent. Thanks to good sense of a distance, Charles can catch punches right on the edge of his reach. From where he safely throws a powerful straight shot. Jiu-Jitsu. That's what Charles Oliveira is all about. He holds the record for submission wins, and in the beginning of his career, all he did was try to go to the ground. Now he feels confident in the standing position, but the ground is still his main battlefield. Charles's classic setups is one leg pass, there he drags the opponent on mat. From there, he suddenly comes out on the leg lock. From there, he either opens a guard or a 50-50 position. In any case, his next action will be to enter the armbar, and while the opponent is busy with his hand, he can throw a triangle or take the back. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is also the answer to takedowns. Then they try to take him down, he immediately throws a guillotine, an anaconda, or his signature, the Bronx choke. With Kevin Lee, he each time allowed him to take himself down. For the sake of trying to guillotine him, when Lee was fresh, he skillfully hid his head from submission, and as soon as he got tired with his head up, he simply gave the victory to Charles. It seems predictable, but the thing is how quickly and suddenly it happens. Because of the desire to finish faster, Charles made stupid mistakes in his youth. For example, the fight with Pettis. There he was preoccupied with the idea of returning to the ground and with an open head ran for a takedown. There he was caught on the guillotine. Special techniques. Here we highlight all of Charles' special technical points. This list includes the spinning kicks to the head and body, as well as back fists. For example, he often feeds his opponents with a back fist, after which the back fist becomes a feint for a spinning back kick or even a 6x12 elbow. Charles' hallmark is the knees, both normal and jumping, but in addition to punches, Oliveira has a lot of strategic techniques, such as entering the clinch after the jab. Here is an example of how he demonstrated it on Kevin Lee and Nick Lance. Once the opponent throws a jab, it's an opportunity to close the distance, so he dives behind him and enters the clinch. Sometimes the entrance to the clinch becomes a feint, and instead of entering, he uses a right straight and knocks out the opponent. Another important point that he developed especially strongly by the last fights in timing. Oliveira learned to catch an opponent during kicks, as he did in the fight with Lance. which will come in handy in the fight against Ferguson. Timing is also evident in his ability to work from the back. Oliveira has possibly the most accurate up kicks in the MMA. He repeatedly shocked opponents from this position or returned the enemy to the ground. But Da Bronx's most unique technique is his trademark Da Bronx choke. He can clink like crazy to the neck and drag him to the ground. Such ferocity often catches the opponent by surprise. This submission is not always used for this intended purpose. Sometimes Oliveira uses it to go to the ground and take the opponent's back. Prediction. The original hyena Ferguson lost to Justin Gaethje due to the moving on straight lines, not wanting to mix stand-up with wrestling, and an ego. Because of the linear movement, Justin smashed his legs. Because of the fact that Tony did not mix, he became predictable. Therefore, it was easy to throw feints and catch with hook, and the ego left Ferguson in the exchange distance for a couple of seconds longer than necessary. Charles Oliveira does not have these flaws, and where Justin succeeded, now he can lose. Charles constantly moves and keeps track of the distance. Few dare to throw low kicks against him because of danger getting takedown. And if Charles getting hit in stand-up, then it is mainly for exhaustion of opponent, as was the case with Poirier. Oliveira always mixes the stance with the clinch and wrestling, which makes it hard to predict what he will do. All the more difficult throw feints. The look with which Gaethje destroyed Ferguson's career will be neutralized Charles' mirror hook with which he finished off Chandler. Also, Da Bronx has no ego problems. He does not allow his arrogance to get the best of him. Justin Gaethje might well catch Charles in stand-up, but the champion has too many different weapons, and given Justin's missing grappling, the fight will most likely end there. Friends, thank you for watching this video. We want to remind you about the situation in Ukraine, our home country. We support Ukraine in many ways, especially with donations. And if you also want to donate and help to stop this war, you can use the link in the description. This is the official site of the National Bank of Ukraine, and you will send money directly to the government. If you liked this video, smash subscribe, click the like button and hit the notification bells.